up, Jacob? How you doing, man?
I am doing well. How are you?
Doing great. Well, thank you very much for taking the time with me today. And I wanted to bring the people who are watching here up to speed a little bit. So, my name's Eric. I'm the host of the YouTube channel Outer Limitless, social media and a YouTube channel. And Jacob, we got you here, man. What are you up to?
Well, I do YouTube, the Preppers Bunker Outdoors, and I do it on Instagram as well. The Preppers Bunker Outdoors. I have a Facebook page, Jacob Beach Peterson. That is my full name. So that's how I kind of keep things updated and keep people in the loop on what I'm doing.
Oh, awesome. Great, man. Well, again, thank you very much. And we got a little video for our viewers and subscribers today. You want to get into it?
Yeah, man, I'm excited. Let's do it.
Sounds good. For everybody watching, this is kind of the start of a new little project for us. So I guess there's some introductions to be made here for everybody, who's a subscriber on my channel. Jacob, welcome. I'm hoping that my viewers are going to see your channel and, get some exposure to you and who you are and what you do, and, maybe jump aboard on your channel. And, same with all your subscribers. I'm hoping maybe they'll, see a little bit in what I do and come along for the ride as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the goal. I like working with other people such as yourself, and sadly, I don't get enough opportunities to do it. So I'm stoked on it.
Nice. No, I'm pretty pumped, man. I've come up with a few things to talk about. I kind of like generally, an organic sort of discussion, but I did, come up with some topics for today. So, for the people that are watching, this is really the first video moving forward. We've come up with a few different conceptual ideas that we're going to move forward with, but today is really just sort of a basic sort of get to know each other a little bit, get our, subscriber base and viewers to sort of, get a little bit into the mix and to, what we like, what we're into, what our videos are about, our style, maybe our preferences, and maybe a couple funny things I got to kind of put in here at the end. So let's roll. So ready to get into it?
Absolutely.
Nice. I'm reasonably new to your channel. Full disclosure, I've been watching you now for, I'd say, probably about 8 months off and on. So for me to really, get to know you a little bit more, I've looked back at some of your videos from the past. So, and correct me if I'm wrong. So, you're a husband, you're a father, you're a business owner, you're a dog owner, and you're a YouTube host. Now, these things, there's a lot that go hand in hand, but there's also a lot of things that are in conflict, and it's difficult, and balancing your life and keeping your full-time job and bringing the income into the family, but also finding this time for your craft and your passion and to follow along with your hobbies. It's pretty tough, and if you're anything like me, I know that's something that you struggle with, but you make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. There are people out there that have figured out how to just make money on YouTube and just make money doing what they love. I don't know how they do it. They're the top 1%, but for the rest of us, it's a hard balancing act. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, what made you start this channel in the first place?
Well, I think at one point in my military career, I looked at going up to Alaska to a unit that primarily just reviews gear. And I thought, that's a freaking job I would love, because I always had an opinion about all the gear we used. Right. And so a few things happened. And I started getting into survival stuff, especially actually with the History channels alone. And so I kept putting off making a YouTube channel. I decided that I was just going to take my cell phone out and start filming. And I actually got really motivated for my video that I gave to Alone to apply to be on the show, which I ended up doing their boot camp and stuff like that for season 2. And that's why I have a pretty strong tie to most of the people from alone. But it just kind of went from there. I thought it would be mostly military tactics and firearms, and it ended up being mostly survival and knives. Just kind of evolved, and the things that I am passionate about ended up being on film. That was that.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, for me, I was really looking for excuses to get in the outdoors. I grew up as a young kid hiking in the Colorado Rockies. I loved it, but I just haven't had great opportunities to get back out there, and especially now that I'm in adulthood, and again, a father and a homeowner and a husband, and full time at work. I really had to find ways to force myself into the outdoors. So, I started getting into this, and I knew that, I really was passionate about photography. But when I started getting out into the mountains, I said, well, videography can tell a different story. So, the reviews for me is just one part of my channel. Yes, I'm a reviewer, but I also like to say I'm a content creator. I like to create content and have ideas. And in some regards, that's what this is. I don't always want to do reviews. I want to have the opportunity to have some of these conversations and meet great people and get into the industry. And that's what it's become for me. But initially, it was an excuse to get into the mountains, get out into the outdoors, enjoy my hobby again, and sort of relive it through a different lens, so to speak.
Absolutely. To be honest with you, obviously I'd be considered probably a reviewer as well, and I wish I didn't do so many reviews. I wish I did just more adventures, but it just kind of happens, especially if you're the type of person like me that has experience with a lot of different gear, has opinions, knows what they like and don't like, and feels an obligation to share that with other people to try and help people. It just, you end up reviewing stuff. So I think it's kind of a natural progression.
Yeah, I completely agree with you 1,000%. And like you said, it's, you want to do other things with it, but reviews are always solid, and it's great to get your hands on gear and give good advice to people. And with that comes obviously the back and forth that you have with your audience and all of the comments. And, I see you're very active, not only on YouTube, but you're on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah, the Preppers Bunker Outdoors. Actually, at one point, I was running social media management for some other companies on Instagram, and I think I was running 8 or 9 Instagram pages.
Wow.
So a little bit out of control with that, but it all kind of comes together and links together. YouTube and Instagram, especially. Uh, Instagram is a visual platform, and YouTube is as well. And a lot of your adult users use both. And I like taking pictures just as much, if not more, as I like taking videos. So again, it's just kind of a natural progression of how things ended up working.
So, with that, as a YouTube and gear reviewer, now I've looked at, sort of some of the history of what you've done. And I think the reason why we're a good match is because we have a lot of common things, but we also have our separate focus. So, for me personally, as a gear reviewer and somebody who enjoys the outdoors, I cover a lot of knives. You cover a lot of knives. I mean, we naturally gravitate towards that. But when we start to differentiate, you tend to cover a lot of firearms. I don't cover any. However, I'd be willing to bet that, some of my subscriber base would love to see some great reviews of firearms. And so, that's the type of thing I think I'm trying to get out of this project with you, is to say, hey, there are things that we naturally will agree and be able to discuss, and things that, quite honestly, I don't naturally, not that I'm not opposed to firearms. I have no problem. In fact, I would love to get into firearms. Problem being is, if it's any addiction like my knife addiction, I'll spend way too much money and it'll completely consume me. So I haven't got there yet, but it's not to say I don't appreciate it. And I think that by, introducing my audience to somebody like you, who's in a very similar, I would say similar place in your channel, that, it provides our viewership and also ourselves some opportunities. So I wanted to talk a little bit about your channel and my channel and where I think they actually kind of compare in some ways. Now, we're about the same age in channel years, right? You might be a little bit older. From what I can tell, you started roughly in March 2015, something ballpark around that. I started in February of 2016, so you got about a year on me. And what I think is interesting is I know how diligent I have been to keep this channel moving. And I can tell by your statistics how diligent you have been. For example, I have 562 videos. Now, I can tell you definitively, I have released no less than 2 videos per week, every single week, without fail, for every single week since I've started my channel back in February of 2016. Well, you have 626 videos. Proportionally, we're right in the same place. Add another year, right? So what I'm saying is, I know by how hard I've worked, how hard you've worked to keep your channel moving. You have done no less than, on average, 2 videos per week, every single week, for 5 years straight. I mean, shit, man, that is a freaking ton of work.
Yeah, it's crazy when you look at it 5 years down the road, especially.
Yeah,
It's a lot of film.
it is. It is a lot of gigabytes, man.
Yeah.
Um, and in terms of subscriber base, you're larger in that capacity, about double me. So you have about 13,000 subs. I have about 6,300. And then in terms of views, we're actually fairly close. You got 2 million views. I got 1.7.
Yep.
So again, my whole reason for bringing that up is, in terms of what we're trying to do, and getting our channels out there and bringing it to a larger volume of subscribers. I think it makes sense to do these types of conversations and these projects. And I know we have some pretty good things lined up moving forward, and I'm hoping this is just video one of many.
Absolutely.
So kicking this off right now, you're a YouTube channel host. You naturally gravitate towards reviews. Now, you cover a lot of things: knives, axes, firearms, occasional backpacks, occasional flashlights. You've done a lot on prepping and bug out, and you do some occasional camping. What would you say are really your favorite topics or favorite videos to produce?
That's a hard question. Really, I like making videos about knives, and I say that with it's a kind of an emotionally loaded question because um, I feel like I want to put out so much more than knife videos. I love using knives. They're a huge part of my adventures. And I'd say adventuring is what I do more than anything. It's not bushcraft. It's not necessarily hiking. It's not necessarily camping. I like going out and having adventures and exploring. But I, I mean, just the numbers speak for themselves, and in the balance of what I've done. I like doing knife videos. I like playing with knives, and so I do it the most because it's what I enjoy. You know.
Nice. No, I can't blame you. I would definitely have to say my night videos are up there. I am, typically a fixed blade guy, and the utility purpose that you get out of them, and the enjoyment. I'm a user. When it comes down to my collection, you have people who have collections. Well, I have a user's collection. I don't care what the knife is in my collection. I intend on using it. So it's going to have dings and scuffs, and the more loved patina on the thing, the more I enjoy it, because that just tells me that I'm out there using it, learning a craft, gaining experience, learning about the steel and the performance and what you can do with these tools. And I think that translates into what my favorite video topics are, which, and I'm glad that you said adventure. I was going to say my hiking and camping and my mountain time, but I think you're right. I think it is actually adventure. And there's a subtopic to why I enjoy those videos. And it's because for me, when I go on those adventures, I really spend a lot of time preparing for the adventure. Where I'm spending time in the mountains, I know that it's potentially dangerous, could be hazardous conditions. I'm miles and miles in the wilderness with nobody to help, almost an impossible way to get out of there. So my preparation time is a big part of that adventure. And then it's the pinnacle, right? So now I'm out there and I'm filming me using this stuff or using a product as part of a review in that setting, but it's pulling it off and making the right kit and having all that preparation translate into a successful video that shows that all that work was worth it. I come home safe. And to me, it's that culmination of the entire process wrapped up in that adventure video that I think I
Yeah,
enjoy the most.
yeah, that's awesome. I think my I would say my favorite videos to film would be the adventure videos, like you're saying. What I hate though is, when I get back from an adventure like that and I have like 12 or 14 hours of footage and I'm just sitting there looking at it, and I know I have to edit it. And that really, I love the adventure, but I like kind of a balance between what I enjoy and what's easy to edit. So for YouTube, I love the adventure the most, but for YouTube, I don't enjoy making the adventure videos as much because I just hate the editing, man. I just hate the editing so much.
Yeah, I'm not the most cinematic guy. I understand it and I could completely film cinematic, but my subscribers will tell you I'm not. And it's because of that exact reason. Like I'm out there enjoying my time in that scenario. I,
Right.
I can't be a film crew the whole time. And, I'm with my friends and my family, and they can only take so much of it. And they're very patient. I'm lucky that they're willing to deal with me while they're trying to hike and enjoy the wilderness. And I'm sitting here with a camera in their face. I mean, there's only so much that they'll put up with. So I'm not cinematic. I'm running gun. I try to do a good job. I try to be clean. I try to have decent audio. But to your point, the adventure's the adventure. YouTube's another thing. So I'm trying to find that happy medium between the two.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So nice. Well, okay. If that's your favorite, then what's your least favorite video to produce? I'll tell you mine. I'll tell you
Yeah.
mine first. Okay. So obviously the adventures are one thing and that's the best. Now the opposite is a review of something that sucks. I hate it. And you know, in full disclosure, I do receive a lot of things and I have a lot of people asking to send me a lot of things. And I guess, it's a double-edged sword. First is I know that I don't have a large subscriber base, and I think part of it is because I'm very long-winded and I get kind of deep on my reviews. People who like entertainment want that 5 minute, entertainment value, and I'm 13 to 20 minutes at minimum on
Yep.
a review. And I don't care if it's the most technical backpack that kicks ass, the best knife with the, greatest steel and sheath system and edge retention, or if it's a crappy notebook that's supposed to work these and I'm using this one as an example. I got this really crappy digital notebook. I'm like, it's not even technically in my genre, but when I saw it, because I do cover EDC, I was like, you know what, if this thing works and it's this like good addition to somebody's EDC kit, it's worth showing it on my channel. But then the
Right.
thing didn't work, and I'm like committed to getting this thing done. And I'm just like, I have to film this crappy review of this product. And I know that on the back end, I'm basically lambasting a company. I don't like doing that, but I'm obligated to do my job and to do it accurately, show the pros, show the cons, and if the thing sucks, I gotta say it. I hate those videos and I don't like doing them, but I do them because I'm obligated.
See, I'm that's a double-edged sword for me because if I have a product that ends up not being so good, uh, it sucks putting the time and effort into the video to make it, unless there is a lot of false advertising behind the product and a lot of people have been misled to love it. Then I'm like, I'm all in. My
Right.
best quality videos, the videos that I'm best known for is on Ultimate Survival Tips MSK1,
Oh wow. Yeah, yeah.
because when I did the original review, which was not not trying to be rude, but trying to be very to the point, I reviewed his knife based on his footage, which said what the knife was for and what it could do, which is all bullcrap, right? Just all trash, utter rubbish. And but it was probably one of my nicest videos, production wise, because I had a mission, because he said that this product would do certain things that it absolutely sucks at. And he made all these claims. So I took it step by step. It's more organized than my typical videos. I had a purpose. And so I love that. Actually, because I feel like that's part of what I'm here to do. And like you said, you have an obligation to do the negative reviews. Well, when it's a product that needs a negative review, that has tons of false advertisement behind it, tons of popularity behind it that's based on lies, I feel like I have even more obligation. I enjoy that. But if it's just a product that sucks, then yeah, it sucks to do. Really, though, at the end of the day, my least favorite video to do is training videos. And to me, it's the video that I have the most obligation to do. Like I did Randall's adventure training, loved the class, but hated that I had to film during it. Editing it was brutal. And right now I have to edit and get up a video my wife took fighting pistol at tactical response. And I've got to get that up. And it really sucks when you're working with other people and their schedules and everything else. It makes everything so much more difficult. And so it's like this big homework assignment that's just constantly in the back of my head. And man, I hate that. I really do.
Yeah, no,
So I don't
I
like
can't blame you.
videos that need to get up. They just are.
Yeah, no, I can't blame you. Putting together sucky videos that you're not looking forward to is definitely a bear, on top of the idea that you have all these other great ideas you want to get out there. So, yeah.
Right. And well, and the other thing is it's going to be so underappreciated because nobody wants to know how much I'm going to say they need to go get training, because they don't want to get training.
Right.
Anyways, they know that they need it and they're already trying to tell themselves that they don't. So they don't want to hear me say that they do. So it's going to be totally, underappreciated. It'll get no views, but I need to get it up. So it's hard.
Well, good luck with that. I will change topics now.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess, all right, your most popular video. So this is two-part question.
Yeah.
On your channel, what is your most popular video? And I don't know if that would be indicative of most likes or most views, but whatever your definition of your most popular video. And then what is your most like hated or polarizing video that like separates the crowd, and like half the people love it but half the people hate it, and you're like this guy in the middle like navigating that around?
Right. Well, actually, for my channel, my most popular videos are always my most polarizing videos. No doubt. I think I did a 1911 versus Glock video, just real quick, like off the cuff. And I think that it has probably as many views as every other video I've ever done combined, or close to it.
Yeah.
And super polarizing. And most people, the hard thing about that is most people don't even know what I'm talking about. Then in the video, they don't even have the personal experience to understand what I'm saying. Then there's The MSK1 video that I mentioned, I'm really well known for that. Again, super polarizing because it has that strong fan base and people who believed the marketing and invested. And these are the kind of people that I'm trying to help before they make the investment. But the people who already have and have already spent the money, they don't want to hear that it wasn't the best. And that's the hard part about it, is because I don't want to give anybody buyer's remorse, but I do want to help the people that are about to buy. And you can't do one without the other. And then recently I did a video about, everybody's talking about a second civil war in politics. I did a video on that. That's just exploded. And again, I would say 95%, my military background has, I was an infantryman, but I worked with intelligence on the ground. So I wasn't doing paperwork. I was getting information from S2 and figuring out what we were looking for on the ground and making sure that got to the commander, and then getting information from the ground to S2. So I was one of the guys doing the same thing as everybody else. I just had an extra job. And I did work with PSYOPs. And then when I got out, I got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, homeland security, specifically working counterterrorism. So I have this background to give insight on how the government will deal with insurrection, domestic terrorism, and all of this other stuff, and problems that I see with some of these other popular channels that have popped up that have said that they're analysts. And the problem is, though, I'm giving this video based on firsthand experience. And so like 95% of the viewer base that has no experience is not even gonna come close to understanding the message. And I'm also not the best at giving a friendly message. So that's tough either. It's just, but it's who I am. Like, I try to do it different, but it's just not gonna happen. I am who I am, and I'm gonna give the message cut and dry, and people aren't gonna like it. It is what it is.
Yep. Nice. Yeah, I don't get too political on my channel, and I'm not very political myself personally. I'm just not that, and religious, like two things. I'm not. I'm an engineer. I am a very factual based person, which helps me in my reviews. I make, observations and deliver the facts the way I see them. And, for me, that's worked well, but it's also become polarizing. One of my most polarizing videos, actually, I did an SE6 versus Schrade SEHF 52M video. When I started with the Schrade, literally the tip broke off in the very first test. And like, I genuinely wanted to like the knife. I mean, there's a lot of great things about it. And it's hard because they're not exactly apples and apples, but I look at knives in a size class and say, if it's in this size class, it's comparable. I mean, they're both 1095. They're hard use wilderness blades. They have a finger choil. They got a similar length cutting edge. They have similar length handles. They have micarta scales. Like, they're in the same blade class. And of course, you get half the world that's the SE fan that's like, well, of course the SE is going to kick ass because it's an SE. And the other half is like, you fucking SE fanboys. Like, of course you're going to pick the SE to win. And I'm like, dude, let's just go back to the first step, which is the tip broke off the knife. Like, it did not start well.
Well, you know what's great is, like, I do a lot of comparisons. And that's actually what I wanted to start doing. And I try to pick knives that are, again, in the same category like you did. I do Battle of the Budget Choppers and Battle of the Behemoths and this and that and the other, of knives in similar categories. And people are like, well, that one's a convex grind and that one's a flat grind, so you can't compare them. They're apples and oranges. And I'm like, they're 2 ounces apart. They're exactly the same size, and they're designed for exactly the same use, and people cross-shop them. So how are you going to tell me that they can't be compared? Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, saying that you can't compare a Kia and a Honda that are in the exact same market because they're made in different countries. Like, can I compare anything? Like, what does this mean? I don't understand, man. There'll always be people, when you're comparing things, that will just make it as difficult as possible. So it's just the way it's going to be.
Yep, yep. And then for my most popular, and it's completely ridiculous. Actually, it's 100+ thousand views. It's just me literally taking the stuff out of my backpack. And the way I look at it, it's like it's imagine being in the middle of like the world's like largest soccer stadium times two, and you're standing in the middle with like everybody looking at you, and you're like
Right.
you got your microphone like I am taking my stuff out of my bag. It's like
Right. Right.
here are my socks.
Right. Right. That's
uh,
awesome.
it's
I
just
don't
it's
have any, I don't have any ridiculous videos that have gotten popular. That's really epic, dude. I'm kind of jealous of that. That's
it's
sweet.
funny. Yeah, that's the one I think like really like sort of kickstarted my trends into growing and getting my name out there. Lucky timing on something sometimes, it's how you
Absolutely.
name it, what the topic is, the time of year, what the analytics pick up, and how it gets presented and who finds it. And I think every now and then you just get lucky. I mean, that's how viral videos work.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a video that went viral on Instagram of me chopping a tree down. Just with an axe out
Yeah.
there chopping on a tree. Views just went up 1,000 every time I looked at them. You know what I mean? And every other video that I have of chopping anything gets 200-300 views. It's weird, man. It's
Yeah.
just I have no idea how it works.
Dumb
No,
luck, right?
it's kind of funny. We're out here, we're making videos, we're making content, but do we really know how things work? Does anybody? I don't know. I don't freaking know.
I
I have
don't
an
I
idea,
don't
dude.
care to know. I'll just do this, have conversations, and make content.
Right. Exactly. Well, I think you'd drive yourself crazy if you did anything more. The people who know how all of this works are probably the people who are funded by a company, and the company is telling them exactly how it works
Yeah.
to get the most return on their investment. You know what I mean? That's probably who knows how to make this work. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll let
Just
them
keep it,
have it.
man. Keep it grassroots.
I agree. So, just a few more things, and I think this will be a wrap. So, what are your goals for 2020 here? Right? What are your goals? What do you want to do with your channel this year?
Well, I want to get more training videos up, and I really want to start pushing gun content. Um, some people will make this political. It's not meant to be political. AR-15s are cheaper now than they've ever been. They're in a lot of ways better than they've ever been, and it's not always going to be that way. So I want to review different AR-15s and stuff like that to help people get the most out of their money. And it's something that I really want to do and get right. And I want to motivate people to get training. I want to go out and do more training videos. And so that's a big thing that I'm going to try and push for 2020 is guns specifically, and a lot of budget stuff. And uh, because not everybody can go out and buy what's ideal, but if we can, in my opinion, if we can get them the best that they can get for the money, because they're never going to spend more money anyways, I think that's what we should be doing. That's the way I look at it. So hopefully I can do that more this year. What about you?
Nice. For me, and I honestly don't even know what this means yet. Um, what I know I want to try to achieve is to differentiate my channel from other channels. I want to create content in a different way. I want to find unique and innovative ways to try to do that. I think this type of thing is a step in the right direction where, it's again, it's now less about the review, it's more about the person. Getting to more of the people behind the scenes, and who's involved in these process, whether it's a company or product development, or whether it's a reviewer or a celebrity or I don't even know what, but I want to focus more on people. I want to create different types of content. I have a lot of ideas, and I'm actually working on some things already. So for my viewers, who may be watching this, they've already probably signed off at 4 minutes and 46 seconds, like most of my other videos. But if they're hanging in there, I do have some new types of content coming out in the next, actually pretty soon. which I'm really pumped about. So that's what I'm trying to do. Just create different types of content, not just focus on the reviews, and find ways to continue to differentiate myself from the other channels in this particular genre.
Hey, so you mentioned something, the average view duration. I think I figured something out about that. I noticed that my average view duration was about 4.5 minutes. However, I noticed as a rule, the shorter videos, which I would think more people would watch all of, get shorter duration. The longer videos get longer duration. The bulk of your real subscriber base is going to watch all or 3/4 of your video. The bulk of random people that come are going to watch 30 seconds of your video. So it gives you an average view duration that's typically just under half the length of your video, regardless of how long it is, I think. And because it bothered me for a long time, it really did. And I had to figure out what was behind it. And I just saw a little bit of a pattern there. And now I don't worry about it anymore as much.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't let it bother me too much either. I just make what I want to make, and that's the fun part about it.
well,
So,
that's the thing. That's the most important thing. Yep.
all right. So, two very last things.
Okay.
You're putting a big effort forward now in weightlifting.
Yeah.
Is this a new phase for you? I mean, it's obviously something you've always done, but is like your intensity a new phase for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm competition driven. I like to compete, and I've started getting involved in strongman uh, genre of exercises. I went and filmed some stuff at a local strongman meet recently. I got to film a couple world records, which was amazing and motivating. But I I'm dealing with a few injuries from the military and from after the military. Actually, most of the injuries from after the military were caused by injuries in the military. And I have to get in better shape to beat them, because if I allow myself to get out of shape and I go have an adventure, I'm going to hurt myself. Um, I have to have strength to be healthy because of my injuries. So yeah, I've got a competition coming up right before this video. Um, I did an 18-inch pull of 495 pounds and went for 685, 585, and failed at that. But now and new injuries pop up. I got bone spurs in my elbows, so I can't do anything that involves triceps for probably at least a couple weeks. Can't do anything heavy that uses triceps specifically for probably a couple months. And my competition's July 4th. So, it's I broke it was July 19th, a year and a half ago or something. I broke my leg and ankle in 3 places,
Oh,
and I got way out of shape. And after I got way out of shape, work was hard, life was hard, things just kept getting hurt. The other thing is I used that as a platform for more videos, fitness for preppers, people who want to get into functional shape, and kind of the combination of traditional cardio, the traditional weightlifting, and how that's necessary for someone who's preparing for an emergency. So I'm trying to bring my journey of getting back into shape to use it to help other people.
no, and that's wise. It's, you hear a lot of people even talking about the fact that, what good is it to prepare for these situations and build a bug out bag and, have all these things that you would need to sustain yourself. But if you're not even in physical shape to deal with it, or to, haul it to where you need to at a good clip over miles after miles, I mean, forget about it. So, yeah, I mean, fitness for me has always been something that's been very important. Obviously, the further I get in life, the harder it is to maintain. I used to go to the gym avid. I've never been about bulk. I've always been about lean body mass and just general cut. But it's something that's kind of fallen by the wayside. So I use my outdoors experiences as my sort of outdoor gym right now, and it's hard in the winter time. I'm feeling it a little bit at this time, but I know as soon as the spring pops around, I'll get back out there and I'll get back in tip top shape for somebody who's just turned 40.
Absolutely, and that's saying a lot. And yeah, you're talking. One thing that's hard for me is I like doing gear reviews. I know that people are going to watch my reviews and buy the product. If I do a good review on a product, people are going to watch it and they're going to buy something. They're going to buy it. And I want people to understand it's fun buying gear, but at the end of the day, it's more important to use gear. And so, not that I want to nag people, but that's where all the training and everything else comes in. Is I want to help people to make wise purchases. But if they're buying gear because they think that they need it, I want them to also realize that their mind and their skill set is more important than their gear at the same time. I don't want to just be the guy that's like, buy, 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 buy. And if I tell someone to buy something, if I tell someone something's good, that reflects directly on me and who I am. So if I lie to them, then I'm worthless as a channel and as a person, and my opinion is worthless. So I feel like it's an obligation to look directly at what you were just saying, and by doing all of this prepping, but being so out of shape that you can't get up your stairs. So that's a
Right.
problem. And
Right.
so that's where the training and the fitness comes in, because I want to talk about the gear that I really like, but also through my videos, I want to show that that's not the whole story. And a lot of people would think when I started this that I was in good shape. I know from my past experiences in emergency situations that where I'm at now is not in good shape. And so, I need to lead by example.
No, great example, man. And, glad to hear that you're paying attention to it, that you're moving forward methodically. You got a goal in mind, big competition coming up, but in the meantime, you're going to kind of pay attention to your body, feel it, telling you a story, telling you the warning signs, things that you need to pay attention to so that you move, carefully and methodically as you heal and get stronger. And that's great, man. So I wish you all the luck in your competition. Hopefully you get yourself there and everything works out very well.
Oh,
But
oh,
I think you're on the right track.
thanks, man. I appreciate it. Hey, thanks for doing the video. I'm really looking forward to our upcoming videos. We're gonna have a lot of fun.
I'm glad you brought that up. So again, we have a couple more coming, and I think these next two definitely are moving in the right direction. If people want to hear about gear and talk about gear, well, don't worry. Gear is coming, and you know what, man? I think that'll be the start of something. So, hey, thanks again. I'm glad you reached out. I saw a few of your likes and comments on Instagram, and figured, what the hell? Let's get something going. So it's good shit, dude.
Heck yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you.
We'll talk
Have a
soon.
good night. Yeah.
You too. Take care.